There may be good reasons at this level for the Nigeria police force under the leadership of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, to immediately invite Nigeria-serving lawmaker, Senator Prince Chinedu Nwoko aka Ned Nwoko, for questioning, over apparent reasonable and evidence-based allegations of raping a minor, child marriage, child molestation, underage voters registration, and child abuse against the person of superstar Nigerian Nollywood actress, Regina Daniels, following the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC voters card, Senator Ned Nwoko presented this morning through his verified social media profile to challenge the allegation earlier made by Regina Daniels that she was still a minor at age 17 when the serving Nigeria senator forced her into early child marriage and started having sexual activities with her. A careful study of the INEC voters card, Regina Daniels' real name or full name was not stated in the election voters registration card that looked very questionable and manipulative. The voters card was issued on July 23, 2018 without the bearer real father's name. The voters card simply identify the actress as Daniels Regina Nwoko, with date of birth as October 10, 1998. This, Chius Nwoko, a family member of Senator Ned Nwoko, in recent days issued a video statement wherein he accused and described the senator as a man of too many bad characters, saying that Senator Ned Nwoko and the actress' father once stayed together in one apartment, and the statement of Chius Nwoko indicated that Senator Ned Nwoko knows the real name of the biological father of the star actress. Hence, as a learned and well-educated person, Senator Ned Nwoko was probably in a good position to know that the voters card was questionable, and it appears to be very fraudulent, because, a year before the questionable and apparent fraudulent INEC voters card was issued, the actress had sworn an affidavit and declared her real names as Ajegwu Regina Nwoko Favor, born on the 10th of October, 2001, as stated in her 5 years international passport issued on May 9, 2017 and renewed on January 11, 2022 with same names and date of birth for 10 years international passport. According to the founder of Sowore Reporters News Media, Omoyele Sowore, it was Senator Ned Nwoko who probably and allegedly may have obtained the fake INEC voters card to conceal the real age of the star actress, saying, Senator Prince Ned Nwoko has traveled with Regina Daniels to Jordan, UAE, Egypt, with her only passport showing she was underage when Ned Nwoko married Gina, but for some curious reason, never took her to England, the US, or Europe because he knew the implications. Verbatim, Senator Ned Nwoko said in a statement issued on Thursday morning with the INEC voters card attached, that, it has come to my attention that false claims are being circulated by Regina, suggesting that I married her when she was 17 years old. These claims are entirely untrue and misleading. For clarity, during my first meeting with Regina, I asked her age, and she told me she was 21 years old. I further asked if she had any document to support this, and she presented her INEC voters card, which clearly shows that she was born on October 10, 1998. I informed her that I would keep this document in my possession, and I have done so since that day. I have also seen a BBC interview her mom granted after our marriage regarding her age. According to all verifiable records, our marriage took place 6 years ago, which means Regina is 27 years old today. Any suggestion that I married her at 17 is false and should not be accepted by the public. The facts are verifiable and indisputable. Until this is done, I urge the public to approach all her claims with caution and discernment, especially taking into account her current mental condition, having started and abandoned her rehabilitation from illegal drug addiction. In numbers of posts published on Wednesday and Thursday, Omoyele Sowore said, Senator Chinedu, Ned Nwoko of APC may believe he can outsmart the public, but the record tells a different story. Evidence now in the public domain shows that he entered into marriage with Regina Ajegwu Nwoko Favor when she was still a teenager, and the couple later traveled abroad to the UAE, Dubai, soon after she turned 18. Ned Nwoko personally handled her travel documentation for that trip. according to accounts from those familiar with the matter, to celebrate her 18th birthday. The same Senator Prince Ned Nwoko, long known for flaunting wealth and influence, has frequently used the now disgraced Nigeria police force to intimidate and detain members of his estranged wife's family and others speaking against his well-documented impunity. This pattern of harassment must stop. Nigeria cannot claim to stand for justice while people with immense political power and questionable fortunes use state institutions as private weapons. Justice must mean accountability, even for the rich and well-connected. Impunity must end. We have obtained a copy from Regina Daniels' international passport, which was issued based on her birth certificate. She was underage at the time of her marriage to Senator Prince Ned Nwoko. It's crucial to question INEC Nigeria this discrepancy, as he is currently using an INEC Nigeria voter's card to assert her age. As he knows, the process for obtaining a voter's card may not involve the rigorous scrutiny required for an international passport, which is based on a birth certificate and other legitimate IDs. The crooked All Progressives Congress senator knew what he was doing. That's reason he never traveled with Regina Daniels to Europe or America. On Wednesday, Omiyele Sowore had also said, "Evidence now available suggests that Senator Ned Nwoko traveled internationally with his now temporarily estranged wife, Regina Daniels, at a time when it is clear that she was still a minor. Records indicate she was born in October 2001 and that their marriage took place in May 2019, when she was 17 years old." Ned Nwoko changed Regina Daniels' name from Regina Nimaka Favor Ejegwu to Regina Daniels. He obtained a fake INEC Nigeria voter card to conceal her age after introducing her to drugs to enable him to force himself on her. Senator Prince Ned Nwoko has traveled with Regina Daniels to Jordan, UAE, Egypt, with her only passport showing she was underage when Ned Nwoko married Gina, but for some curious reason, never took her to England, the US, or Europe because he knew the implications. This latest revelation raises serious legal and ethical questions that can never be ignored. The facts, as they stand, point to a violation of both moral and statutory boundaries, and the truth will soon be fully public. No amount of influence or political power should shield anyone from accountability when such grave issues are involved. Crooked All Progressives Congress Senator Prince Ned Nwoko is fully exposed now.
Bring in you the news in a more digital way.
Former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Buratai has described the conduct and behavior of a Nigeria-serving minister and former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, before a serving Nigeria soldier in the naval force as reckless and thus insulted and disrespected the person and the office of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, after the minister had a confrontation with the naval officer with the service name, A.M. Yerima, at Plot 1946, Gudua District, Abuja, over ownership and development rights to a parcel of land allegedly linked to a former chief of naval staff. This, a careful study of some video footage made available online, especially the video captured and published by Channels Television, apparently indicated that the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, physically assaulted one of the operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS, that was seen protecting the minister against a potential threat of armed soldier who was on a direct viewpoint with the minister. The DSS officer proactively moved to give the armed soldier a close marking and chest up to the defense line, with the armed soldier who was moving steps on a close range and direct viewpoint to the minister. But, surprisingly, the minister, in a manner that looks very disrespectful and belittling, walked up to the DSS officer and dragged him to leave the way. Professionally, the DSS operative angrily resisted Wike and said with a loud voice that he can't leave the defense line, that the armed soldier is being unprofessional with the way the armed soldier was standing on a direct viewpoint to the minister. quickly, one of the combatant DSS officers from behind moved towards the armed soldier and pushed him off the defense line. Thereafter, the situation became violently rowdy and was almost leading to a complete fight. Even when the DSS operatives formed a circle around the minister to protect him, Wike was seen trying to violate the DSS human shield in a manner as if he was going personally to confront one of the armed soldiers, but the DSS officers ensured the minister was denied the opportunity to endanger his own life, and after the violent situation, all the armed soldiers moved backward while the DSS officers built a human defense wall against the armed soldiers completely. Only the senior army officer, who appeared not armed, was now in close contact with the minister, and according to the former chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Buratai, Wike's action is a clear act that presents danger to national security, and undermines the authority of the commander-in-chief and the integrity of the armed forces. The FCT minister, accompanied by senior officials of the Federal Capital Development Authority, had visited the site to stop what he described as an illegal construction, when he confronted a naval officer allegedly supervising the property. In a viral video of the incident, Wike was seen expressing outrage with insulting words such as, "You are a fool, when I graduated, you were still in primary school," while the officer insisted that he was acting on orders given to him by a vice admiral. Wike could be heard and seen in the videos shouting on top of his voice, saying, "You are in uniform, and you're telling me that the Navy owns this land. Who gave you the right to build without approval? Even if you are the Chief of Naval Staff, the law must be respected." The officer repeatedly responded that the property belonged to a former service chief and that the military had authorization to protect it. Buratai, who served Nigeria as Chief of Army Staff between 2015 and 2022, through his verified Facebook account on Tuesday early morning, said in quotes that the events of November 11, 2025, involving the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Wike, demand an immediate and serious response. His public disparagement of a uniformed officer of the Nigerian Armed Forces transcends mere misconduct. It represents a palpable threat to national security and institutional integrity. A minister's verbal assault on a military officer in uniform is an act of profound indiscipline that strikes at the core of our nation's command and control structure. It deliberately undermines the chain of command, disrespects the authority of the commander-in-chief, and grievously wounds the morale of every individual who serves under the Nigerian flag. Such actions erode the very foundation of discipline upon which our national security apparatus stands. This cannot be dismissed as political theater. It is a reckless endangerment of national order. This action by Wike is clearly an indication of undermining the federal government's authority. Consequently, Barrister Wike must tender an immediate and unequivocal public apology to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Commander-in-Chief, the entire armed forces of Nigeria, and the specific officer whose honor was violated. Our nation's security must come first. It is time for decisive action, not politics of military bashing. The integrity of our armed forces demands nothing less.
Sangat dan drop. Sangat dekong. Sir.
It's embarrassing. You want to kill everybody? Please kill everybody. No, you
Sorry, I'm not. No. This is the minister here, please.
Guys, this is the minister here.
Who are you? Who are you? I will talk to you. Who are
What I'm saying here, I'm it's order. It's not a government order. There's no come on. Okay, can I just even if having a problem, this government, show me the document you have. You have no document. I print the document. Excuse me. I'm the minister. You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that. We cannot continue to have impunity. When I provide even to you.
very confusing? You are very confusing. Very serious. I don't know what I mean.
You cannot say this government don't have documents. You don't have documents. And you give us a prayer section. I think this is wrong.
Abdul, don't worry.
Okay, what do you mean? Can you come to the officer?
Hello, sir. Morning, sir. I'm fine, thank you, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Afternoon, sir. I'm Navy Lieutenant Yerima, sir. Security officer to Vice Admiral of the Buratai. Yes, sir. So I'm here on the orders. Yes, sir. I'm here on the orders of the admiral. Sir, we mobilized the site a couple of days ago, sir. And then the engineer kept telling us that policemen are coming to embarrass them and harass them. And they've been coming to threaten them that if they don't leave, to strike them, to arrest them and help. And then he brought it to our attention. So as the security officer to the Vice Admiral, I was called and then I acted. Sir, we are not doing anything illegal. We are here on the orders of the Vice Admiral. That's it. Ours is just to come and intervene.
Stop this video.
Sir, let me say, I request to sir, there's no such thing as a former Vice Admiral. Vice Admiral is Vice Admiral.
It's not sorry. Show me the document you have. You have no document. Bring the document.
I have documents and everything has been submitted.
You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that. We cannot continue to add in this impunity. Where the approval even to people. You cannot continue this way. This country cannot continue along this line. How can that man at his level, even if he has a problem, he cannot reach me and say, look, I'm sorry. See what I have. You will send soldiers to intimidate who? We are all from this country. And this is government. You cannot be higher than any government. You cannot be carrying guns to intimidate people to not to do their work. Let me tell you, if not government was first staff, who spoke to me here? You could have killed everybody here. No problem. I'm not one of those that they can intimidate.
On the contrary,
I'm doing my job.
We are not intimidating anybody.
That's what you're doing.
The the civilian, the engineer mobilized to site, and then staff or workers of SCD look at it.
No, listen now.
They were threatening them, and that was when the admiral gave the order.
He cannot give order against government.
Because the papers are complete, and he said
Well,
submitted
are you
them.
the one? Listen, you know the police one. Are you the one that will say paper? What will show me that you are good? First of all, show me that government gave you this. Two, show me that you have an approval to build what you are building. It has nothing to do with I'm a vice admiral, I'm a lieutenant general. That is not it. We must work according to law. We must work according to law.
We forwarded everything to me.
So you?
No, can you not tell like this? Don't tell like this.
Don't you try this?
Don't tell me this. Don't tell me this. You're fine.
Don't tell me I'm lying.
I'm more than a guy. I'm more than you. Don't interrupt me. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? I'm
I am a small boy, but the commission of finance can never very good. Those who come and complain how do I face him? How do I face him? This is not professional. This is not professional. Please. You can't be facing the military with this thing. It's okay. From demolition is not part.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Order matters. I'm an officer. Take to orders.
So what? You had a who? Than me.
So I'm an officer. Take to orders.
To order that.
I'm a 3-star general.
Okay.
I can't say no. That was,
You can never develop this property. I will not allow it.
No problem, sir.
I'm
only acting on my orders.
If you want to kill everybody, kill everybody.
We will not kill
You
anybody,
cannot.
sir. We will not. We will not kill anybody.
You put yourself in trouble.
We will not.
my friend, you see,
What is that? You cannot shut me up. Look at you. You cannot shut me up. You are my senior. You cannot even talk when I'm talking. Because
I have to reach you.
you're only that way. I'll be talking and policemen will be talking.
you are taking with us.
That's an officer. Nobody does that.
We did not carry anybody.
The man took that. I will not allow because he was chief of the and then you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop
and so
that?
you get
Will you stop
Sir,
that?
I'm an officer. I have integrity.
Shut up, your mouth, put
Sir, I
outside.
will not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir, I'm a
I
commissioned
was in
officer.
school, you're not in school.
Sir, you can't shut
Will
me
you
up.
keep quiet?
You can't
Let
shut
them
me
take
up, sir.
food.
I'm not a
You are
fool.
the fool.
I'm not a
You
fool,
think
sir.
I'm shooting anybody like that?
Sir, I'm not
You
a
are the
fool.
fool. Who are you?
I am not a fool, sir.
As for the time I
Don't call me a
graduated,
fool.
you were in primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Take for
You
which
can't
order?
call me a fool.
I just, you will see whether you love it here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
Go
I'm
and develop your-
an
go and
officer.
develop.
I'm not a fool, sir.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
an
with you.
officer.
I'm so corrupt. You will have killed everybody here.
No, we won't kill anybody. We won't kill anybody. We are acting on orders.
Bring in you the news in a more digital way.
Well-known human rights activist and founder of the Sowore Reporters news media, Omiyele Sowore has called on the British government that the United Kingdom, UK should immediately place a ban on Nigeria serving senator representing Delta North Senatorial District in the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, Prince Chinedu Nwoko aka Ned Nwoko, as a registered lawyer in the United Kingdom over allegations of child abuse, raping of minor and molestation allegedly committed against the person of Nigeria popular Nollywood actress Regina Daniels, after the superstar actress revealed on Sunday that she was forced into early marriage at the age of 17 by the serving Nigeria senator, which, according to Sowore, Regina Daniels at 17 was still a minor under the UK law and therefore called on the Law Society of England and Wales to be alerted, and the Solicitors Regulation Authority, SRA, must begin disciplinary proceedings before the Independent Solicitors Disciplinary Tribunal, SDT, determined Senator Ned Nwoko fitness to still practice law in the UK, while Sowore stated this earlier on Sunday. On Monday evening, Sowore raised alarm of fresh plans by the serving Nigeria senator, Ned Nwoko, to allegedly block the release of the detained Regina Daniels' brother, Samuel Ejegwu aka Sammy West, and arrest his mother-in-law, Regina Daniels' mother, Rita, and Regina Daniels' friends. But Sammy West was later seen in a video on Monday night being released from prison. According to Omiyele Sowore, APC Senator Prince Ned Nwoko must be held accountable for crimes against a minor and abuse of power. The case of APC Senator Prince Ned Nwoko has gone far beyond politics. It now points to serious criminal conduct and gross abuse of power, as revealed by his now estranged wife, Regina Daniels. According to Regina Daniels, Senator Prince Ned Nwoko married her when she was only 17 years old, at a time when she was legally a minor under UK law, where Nwoko remains a registered legal practitioner. Any sexual activity following that marriage would, under British law, amount to statutory rape. More disturbing are Regina Daniels' allegations that Senator Nwoko introduced her to hard drugs while she was still underage and repeatedly forced himself upon her. These are not mere moral failings. They're serious criminal offenses that demand investigation and prosecution. It is unacceptable for Ned Nwoko to continue parading himself as a lawyer in the United Kingdom while facing these damning allegations. The Law Society of England and Wales must be alerted, and the Solicitors Regulation Authority, SRA, must begin disciplinary proceedings before the Independent Solicitors Disciplinary Tribunal, SDT, to determine his fitness to practice law in the UK. We will not allow Ned Nwoko to continue using the now disgraced Nigeria police force, his political influence, or illicit wealth to suppress victims, pervert justice, and trample on human rights in Nigeria or anywhere else in the world. Impunity has an expiry date, and that date is now. Stop Senator Prince Ned Nwoko's abuse of power and criminal manipulation of state institutions. While we continue working to secure the freedom of Samuel Ejegwu, Sammy West, who has been unjustly detained through the influence of crooked All Progressives Congress crooked Senator Prince Ned Nwoko, it is important to alert the public to the senator's ongoing schemes and abuses of power. Reliable information indicates that Senator Nwoko has deployed substantial funds to elements within the Nigeria police force in order to target and intimidate members of his estranged wife Regina Daniels' family and friends. Acting through corrupt police officials and in some instances attempting to draw in the NDLEA, he has sought to expand a web of harassment and unlawful arrests. Senator Prince Ned Nwoko allegedly pressured Nigeria police force officers earlier today to block Sammy West's bail, and even attempted to procure the arrest of Regina Daniels' friends and mother, Rita, under false claims that they were supplying her with drugs. Equally disturbing are credible reports that he illegally intercepted and monitored Regina Daniels' private WhatsApp communications, paying large sums to police operatives to track her calls and messages. Over 250 of such WhatsApp messages were submitted to implicate Regina Daniels's close circle that he alleged was supplying her hard drugs. In addition, Nwoko is said to have sponsored the fabrication of medical reports from Nizamiye Hospital in Abuja and another private facility in Abuja, in a desperate bid to criminalize Regina Daniels and those close to her. These actions amount to a grave abuse of state power and violation of fundamental rights. The public must understand that the true criminal here is Ned Nwoko himself, a man who married a minor, exposed her to drugs through manipulation, and repeatedly violated her bodily autonomy. We call on the Nigerian leadership to immediately call the Nigeria Police Force, the NDLEA, and also urge the Attorney General of the Federation, and relevant international human rights bodies to immediately investigate these allegations and to curtail Senator Nwoko's influence over security agencies in Nigeria. No individual, no matter how wealthy or politically connected, should be allowed to weaponize law enforcement institutions for personal vendettas. Justice must prevail, and Ned Nwoko must be held accountable for his crimes.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Nigeria's superstar actress who has been in the news since she got married to a man many said was old enough to be her grandfather, Regina Daniels on Sunday early morning night revealed that she was married to the Nigeria senator representing Delta North, Prince Chinedu Nwoko aka Ned Nwoko as a minor at the age of 17, a statement that allegedly accused the serving senator, Ned Nwoko of apparent serious crime of child abuse, raping of minor, child molestation and forced child marriage because Nigeria constitution stipulates 18 years of age for someone to be considered old enough to be able to consent to marriage or sexual activities, and any sexual activity with a minor, the older person is presumed according to the Nigeria constitution as a criminal suspect who took advantage of the minor and liable for child abuse and other related crimes. Although Senator Ned Nwoko is a Muslim by religion, a careful study of the Nigerian laws indicated that Islamic law is only binding on Muslim and not Muslim and Christian or people from other religions. We are also aware that both of them are from Delta State in the south-south geopolitical zone of Nigeria that is predominantly Christians that practices 18 years as a statutory and customary age requirement for someone to be considered old enough to give his or her voluntary consent for marriage and other forms of sexual activities. Last month October, there was a heated debate at the Nigeria Red Chamber of the National Assembly where the senators bemoaned the high rates of child abuse and defilement of minors in Nigeria and recommended a stiffer punishment of life imprisonment for offenders. Specifically, according to the Daily Post newspaper publication on October 21, 2025, the senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, Adams Oshiomhole, said defilement of a minor should be different from that of rape. For a minor, this is a kid that is not capable of consenting or otherwise and whose life can be destroyed almost permanently. Those involved in defilement should suffer great punishment. I propose 20 years imprisonment for whoever is found culpable for this crime without any option of fine, because I have seen cases of boys and girls under 5 and 10 years old being defiled by adults, he said. The proposal was, however, defeated by the majority in the Red Chamber of the National Assembly. Following the defeat of the bill, Senator Mohammed Adamu Aliero, Kebbi Central, proposed stiffer punishment of life imprisonment for any man or woman found wanting in the act. I want to propose that the punishment for defilement for minors be life imprisonment, whether it's a man or woman found culpable. According to Regina Daniels, before she became the wife of Senator Ned Nwoko, she was not into drugs or a drug addict. She alleged that it was Senator Ned Nwoko who influenced and forced her into the habits of taking drugs in order for she to be able to satisfy the senator's sexual desire or meet up with his sexual pleasure. Verbatim, Regina Daniels said, "Dearest ex-husband, thanks for breaking the crown you put on my head. No one knew us like we did, and I trusted you with all of me, even with my sex tape, which I pray never sees the light of day. Foolish me. When I married you at 17, was I on drugs? I thank God for time. My name is ruined for now. but I will rewrite my story. That narrative will be dead and gone. Now that I've let the one thing you had on me out, what else? It's time to fight with all of me in court. I'm not backing down now. Ned, how could you lie so openly and without even small remorse? You know my family has absolutely nothing to do with this. You have always tried to cut them off because of the bond we share, and now you are trying to make them look bad for no reason. Fine, I did drugs. So what? Is that even the issue between us? The moment we had a fight, you rushed to the public shouting, drugs, 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 because you knew it would make a perfect story for the media, something dramatic enough to distract everyone from the real issue. You want to find a reason to arrest everyone around me so that I will have no one left beside me, no friend, no support, no safe place to turn to. Then, when I'm completely isolated and broken, I will be forced to come back to you because I will have nowhere else to go. That has always been your strategy. Break people down, make them weak and powerless, and then have your way with them. But guess what? It's not going to work this time. Not anymore. You say you want me to go for rehab, but you are the same Ned who always wanted me high because, in your words, "Lem, sexier, when I'm high." You like me that way because it made me wild and romantic, exactly how you wanted me to be. Why don't you also tell them how you force yourself on me whenever I say no? Why don't you tell them how you lock me up, seize my phones, and suddenly declare me mentally unstable the moment I say I no longer want to be in this relationship? But once I change my mind just to get out of that locked room, suddenly Lem fine again, Lem no longer mentally unstable, and apparently not in need of rehab anymore. Why don't you also tell them that all your wives and ex-wives are on drugs? And can you be kind enough to explain to them why that is? Why don't you also tell them how you lock me up and doctors to inject me with drugs meant for people with bipolar disorder? Why don't you tell them how you take my phones for weeks just because you hate that I talk to my family a lot? You have never seen me act incoherent, stumble, or lose control, so just stop. Every problem we have had started when I no longer wanted you, whether sober or even high. Stop using the drugs narrative to create distraction. Tell people the truth. I understand, Shah. You are feeling rejected and hurt, and you are struggling to make peace with the fact that it's all over. Let me make this very clear. No matter how much you think you spent on me, it can never equal the value of the time I gave you, my prime years, my energy, and the career opportunities I sacrificed while being with you. And for the record, I would have filed for divorce long ago if there was ever a legal marriage between us. We were never married in any court of law, and no documents were signed. Leave me alone, Ned. Marriage is not by force. Love is not by force. Stop trying to control what no longer belongs to you.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Serving Nigeria Senator, Prince Chinedu Nwoko, well known as Nedo Nwoko, has listed and narrated some of the things he has done for the family of his absconded fourth wife, Regina Daniels, particularly stating that his mother-in-law, Regina Daniels' mother, Rita, received 125 million nairas from him in the past 2 years alone, apparently challenging the mother-in-law earlier media statement that none of the senator's children looked like a child of a billionaire, and that she on her own spent her hard-earned money to support the senator's election, in addition to the $50,000 Regina Daniels gave to the 65-year-old Muslim husband from the southern part of Nigeria. Outside that, Senator Ned Nwoko apparently tried to explain why his brother-in-law, Sammy, was arrested and detained after his wife, Regina Daniels, ran away from her matrimonial home and decided to end the marriage with the serving Nigeria senator on the ground of domestic violence, intimidation and oppression that made her look like nothing in the house of the senator, who she swiftly replied yesterday that Ned Nwoko never married her legally, and she was apparently still a minor at age 17 when the Nigeria serving senator allegedly forced her into early marriage. Details of Regina Daniels' statements and the legal implications will be reported and published in our next news report for proper clarification and understanding, so that appropriate government bodies like the Nigeria Police Force will be held accountable to take decisive action for the protection of girl-child against sexual abuse, molestation, raping of minor and child marriage. According to the serving senator, Ned Nwoko, who attached 2 videos to his statements of Sammy, Regina Daniels' brother having misunderstanding with some of his domestic staff and the policeman at his house, these videos show Sammy, Regina's brother, repeatedly coming to my home and harassing my children and domestic staff, especially whenever I was not around. His visits were often aggressive and disruptive. This is someone I sponsored through his last 2 years at the University of Ikpoma. I bought his musical instruments, rented and furnished a flat for him in Abuja, in addition to the house I bought for Regina in Asaba before our marriage for the use of all of them. I also routinely provided allowances to all members of the family, including her mother, Rita Daniel. Indeed, in the last 2 years, I have a record of transferring 125 million nairas to her alone. When Regina started her rehabilitation, there was a clear instruction by the doctors to strictly restrict people, especially her enablers, from having access to her. The therapy was arranged after I noticed troubling changes in her behavior linked to her dependence on certain illegal substances, including going for 48 hours without sleeping and eating every 2 hours. Unfortunately, Sammy, Destiny, some of their siblings, together with a few of their friends, notably Sonia Uche Montana among others, constantly defied those instructions. They would come into the house uninvited, sometimes forcing their way in, and would bring her the same drugs she was being treated for. Instead of helping her recover, they encouraged her addiction and completely frustrated the efforts of the doctors and therapists working with her. It is important to note that Lawrence, Sammy, his girlfriend NK, Destiny, Sonia, and others also took the same drugs as Regina. In fact, Lawrence and Sammy were the ones who first introduced and supplied these drugs to her. They were deeply involved in the habit themselves, and rather than helping her get better, they kept drawing her back into the same destructive lifestyle. I do not drink alcohol nor smoke. In fact, I am a vegetarian, so I found these characters and behaviors reprehensible and totally unacceptable. Just 4 weeks ago, I woke up around 5 a.m. and realized that Regina was in my room and on the phone. She was clearly high, and she knows that I do not want her in my room in that condition. I asked her to go to her room, and she told me that Sammy's girlfriend was in her room. I was alarmed and angry because that girl should never have been in my house, let alone around Regina, since she is one of the enablers who constantly bring her the substances she is addicted to. I told Regina that the girl had to leave, and one of my drivers dropped her off. 30 minutes later, Sammy came to my house shouting and demanding that I come downstairs to face him. He said I had no right to ask his girlfriend to leave my house. He was ranting and threatening, waking up everyone, including the children. I eventually went downstairs and had to instruct the security to physically push him out of my compound. The level of audacity was shocking. Without the influence of drugs, could he have been so bold and disrespectful? They did not stop there. On several occasions, they verbally assaulted and intimidated the police officers stationed at the house for security. The officers were simply following instructions to restrict access for the sake of Regina's recovery, but Sammy and his group would insult and threaten them. Whenever Regina wanted to go out and I was not around, she would become extremely hostile toward the police and domestic staff. She would shout, threaten, and use abusive words, insisting that she must leave the house no matter what. There were at least 2 serious incidents where she left home in the evening and did not return until the next day. The first incident, she returned in the morning around 9 a.m. When I asked where she had been all night, she casually said she was at a nightclub. When I questioned why she would stay out all night, ignoring my calls and refusing to answer messages, her response was, "You are not my father, so don't ask me where I was." I found out that she was with Cassie and that Cassie was staying in Regina's house in Life Camp. Cassie is the chemist and supplier of the group. I had to go to Life Camp at 6 p.m. to ask her to leave. With her around Regina, the therapy became a joke. On another occasion, on the kid's birthday to be precise, I returned home with the kids because Regina said she would stay with her Nollywood friends for dinner. She didn't return until 5 p.m. the next day. I took so much nonsense just for the sake of the kids. I also knew that drugs had a lot to do with it. As to her reasons for continuing with drugs, she will always say, just like her mother, that it is a celebrity lifestyle. They will always mention two well-known pop stars. Imagine the pain of a husband trying to help his wife recover, only to have the process sabotaged by her siblings and friends, the very people who should have been supporting her healing. This pattern of behavior made it almost impossible for her to recover. Each time progress was made, they would undo it by smuggling in the same drugs she was fighting to give up. The entire household lived in tension and fear because of the constant harassment, interference, and disregard for boundaries. It will be interesting to know her reasons for the violent behavior in the house the day that Sammy and other siblings came and attacked my staff and security, taking Regina away after doing a video which they posted the next day. Why did they do that video? Why did they post it? They simply planned and orchestrated a script all in my absence, regardless of the fact that my kids were there. They took away many things from my house, including one of my phones, money, and many other items. Everything that happened that day was in my house, in my absence. Nobody was beaten, and nobody could have contemplated that. It is blatantly false to say that I sent thugs to beat Regina in another house. The video that went viral was filmed entirely in front of my house by Regina's sister and her friend. It was a pure Nollywood scenario, in front of my property, in my absence. Sammy should have a life of his own outside of Regina and focus on building his career independently. When his brother Lawrence went to London a couple of years ago to do his master's degree, I personally sponsored him with $75,000 for tuition and upkeep. I sent him abroad partly to help him escape the toxic environment of drug exposure and bad influence around him at the time. Out of fairness, I offered Sammy the same opportunity, but he declined, insisting he wanted to remain in Nigeria to pursue his music career. Unfortunately, he has since been arrested several times by both the police and the EFCC. His behavior has become increasingly violent and unstable. What he needs now is total rehabilitation and professional guidance. Otherwise, his aggression and self-destructive tendencies will only worsen.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has said that the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has not forfeited his rights to defend himself before the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, after the judge, Justice James Omotosho, ruled on Friday and stated that Nnamdi Kanu's rights to enter defense has been forfeited and thereafter fixed November 20, 2025 for judgment, as Nnamdi Kanu was seen to have staged a defensive confrontation with aggressive loud voice, challenging the court that the federal government allegations against him has no legal basis or any aspect of the Nigeria law that backs such allegations. This, Barrister Oloyejimako, the organizing lawyer for the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, had on Wednesday said in a written and video statement posted on his X social media account that Nnamdi Kanu is competent enough to defend himself, especially given the political elements in the case which he understands better than any lawyer. In a press release issued and made available on Friday, IPOB, in the statement signed by Emma Powerful, said it strongly condemns the new round of fake news being pushed by certain Nigerian media outlets. The false claim that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has forfeited his right to defense in the ongoing trial before Justice James Kolawole Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, is a desperate lie meant to mislead the public and cover up an illegal process. Let the truth be clear, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has not forfeited anything. What is happening in court is not a fair trial but a political show. Up till today, neither Justice Omotosho nor Chief Adigboyegboro San, the government's lead prosecutor, has been able to point to any valid, existing law that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu supposedly broke. Their silence speaks volumes. It is a quiet confession that this entire case has no legal foundation. The core question remains simple. Can anyone be prosecuted or convicted without a living law that clearly defines the offense and prescribes a punishment? The answer is written in Section 36(12) of Nigeria's 1999 Constitution. A person shall not be convicted of a criminal offense unless that offense is defined and the penalty therefore is prescribed in a written law. This means you cannot charge or convict anyone unless the law exists in black and white. No judge or lawyer can twist that. The Supreme Court has said the same thing many times. In Nwoko vs. Fagbemi, 1961, AG Federation vs. Abubakar, 2007, and NNPC vs. Fawahinmi, 1998. Where there is no law, there can be no trial, no conviction, and no justice. But instead of obeying this clear rule, Justice Omotosho keeps trying to force Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to open his defense, as if pretending there's a valid case will make it real. This is wrong. It's a misuse of power and a clear violation of fair hearing. You cannot force a man to defend himself against a ghost charge. So we ask again, under which law is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being tried? What act of the National Assembly defines his supposed offense? And by what right does a judge compel a defense where no offense in law exists? Nigerians deserve honest answers, not propaganda. Everyone should read Section 36(12) and know their rights. It protects all of us from tyranny. Any court that ignores the Constitution becomes part of the problem, not the solution. IPOB fully supports Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's stand in refusing to legitimize this illegality by entering a defense. The truth is unshakable. No valid law supports this case, none whatsoever. Now, Justice Omotosho says he will give judgment without even allowing final addresses from both sides. That's laughable and unheard of in criminal law. If that is truly his position, then maybe he needs to go back to law school and learn what due process means.
Directives of the Supreme Court, judgment in FRN v. Nnamdi Kanu, in suit number SC/CR/1361/2022, delivered on the 15th of December 2023. The relief I'm seeking, my Lord, is a very simple. The expunging from the records of this very honorable court the purported plea of not guilty entered by myself, the defendant, here the applicant, on the 29th day of March 2025, the same having been obtained under deception, coercion, and in clear violation of Section 36(6)(a) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, and in defiance of the Supreme Court's binding directive in FRN v. Nnamdi Kanu. I'm asking my Lord for an order setting aside all proceedings conducted pursuant to the said defective plea, including but not limited to the scheduling of defense, witness summons, and trial dates, the same being founded on a nullity admonition. An order declaring that the 7th count charge, dated 29th March 2025, disclosed no triable offense known to law, having been founded on repealed statutes, namely the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act of 2013, repealed by the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022, and the Customs and Excise Management Act Cap C45 LFN 2004, repealed by the Nigeria Customs Services Act of 2023, and in flagrant disobedience of the Supreme Court's order for amendment, and order striking out the charge in its entirety for want of jurisdiction, the same being incompetent and void ab initio, and order directing the immediate release of the defendant applicant from custody, there being no valid charge pending before this very court, and such other orders as this very honorable court will deem fit and just to make in the circumstances. It was dated, my lord, the 6th day of November 2025. Thank you, my lord.
Yes, and I think
Supreme Court said do something, you will do it. And you're just in confusion. And you wonder why God cost you the useless black people. You don't know what justice means. You have no idea what justice means. You don't know what justice means. Useless black African people. You don't know the name of justice. Your constitution says you cannot try anybody unless the law is written. Show me the written law. Show me the written law. I want to know the written law. Talk to me now. Show me the written law. Are you okay? Don't go close. Don't try that rubbish. Don't try it. Don't try it. Don't try that rubbish. Don't try that rubbish. Useless people. You don't know law. You don't know law. Your own constitution you don't respect. Supreme Court judgment you don't respect. Then why are we in the court of law? Why are we in the court of law, I ask? Nonsense. You think Britain can ask you to jail me and you jail me? You are dreaming. You are dreaming. I'm telling you that you are dreaming. Nonsense. Your constitution says you cannot try anybody unless the law is written. Show me the written law. Show me the written law. Don't try it. Don't try it. Don't try rubbish. Don't try rubbish. Useless people. You don't know law. You don't know law. Your own constitution you don't respect. Supreme Court judgment you don't respect. That's why we in the court of law. Why are we in the court of law, I ask?
Good morning.
I know you attended the proceedings today.
Yes, I did.
For Nigerians to know.
Yeah.
Just a summary of what happened.
Well, what happened in court today, for me, continues to be travesty of justice. I've always said it, that in Nigeria, there appear to be two sets of rules. One for the Igbo man and another for the other Nigerians. This is exactly what I saw in court today. First of all, my name is Honorable Obi Agocha. I represent the great people of Iguano, Umuahia North and Umuahia South Federal Constituency. I am the primary representative for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I'm going to speak to you as a layman. I'm not a lawyer.
Osazuwa Connect, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwa Connect, bringing you the news in a more digital way.